This is an update to the video that I just uploaded concerning coming out of her, my people, lest you partake of her judgments. Some of you may ask yourself, why must the righteous be removed? Why must the terrorists be separated, and God, so that God can bring the righteous into His barns, which are the places of refuge, right? And if you go back in the time of Lot, when Lot was in Sodom, that no righteous could be found. God asked Adam, or asked Lot, well, if there's any righteous, or Lot asked him if there's any righteous, spare the city. But the time is coming where God's going to remove the righteous from the cities, because this is the end time harvest. We're moving into the kingdom age, and that the judgment of God is going to fall on the cities, right? So God's going to remove the righteous so that He can judge the wicked. And, I know there's going to be some that won't be able to make it out. And between now and the time that the kingdom of the Antichrist is set up, by the end of 2021, we'll see the son of perdition rise up as the Savior to the world. At that point, there's going to be great persecution upon the churches and the cities. And at that point, we're going to see a great falling away for many of the believers that are in the cities, because they're going to compromise and patronize the one world religion, or they're going to have to flee in persecution. But the main reason that God is raising is removing the righteous, calling the righteous out to take the first step out of the system into these Goshen camps, God-ordained camps, is to remove the righteous from judgment and prepare them to relocate into the places of refuge in the wilderness. These are the end times that we're coming into. Judgment is not wrath. Many of you out there get this mixed up. But God's going to pour out His judgment mixed with mercy. And when the time comes for the mark of the beast to go forth, that's when God's going to pour out His wrath, His judgment with no mercy, right? So those that take the mark, and there's going to be many of His children end up taking the mark, one reason or another. There are churches even teaching now, and have been for the last couple of years, that's okay to take the mark, that God's going to understand and is still going to make it to heaven. But those who take the mark, worship the image, you'll no longer be a child of God. Your name will be blotted out from the book of life. So God in His mercy is given this final call to come out of her, my people, lest you partake of your judgments. And I know that, there's some that are going to be in the cities, not able to prepare to get out. But, toward the end, there will be places set up for those that are trapped in the cities and are looking for a way of escape, that God's going to provide a way of escape, even if He has to translate them. And so I'm just bringing forth a second update, just to reaffirm this first message, where God is making a statement. He's declaring in the heavenlies to come out of her, my people, lest you partake of your judgments. And God means what He means. He doesn't mean just to come out of the churches, out of the religious system, but to come out of man's system, because the system is going to go down in judgment. And so just going to end it here. But God does have a purpose of removing the righteous out of judgment. This is His way of taking the restrainer out of the cities. But God's still going to have a witness. He's still going to have a place where He can reside, where His glory is going to reside in a people. and a bride company that is going to remove from the system. And in Revelation 12 it talks about the man-child being raised up to heavenly places and the bride being brought into the wilderness to be given the revelation of Jesus Christ, where they're going to be raised up into a place of faith where, like we all going to have to come to that place of faith where we're living in the fourth dimension. We're living in the dimension of faith. And without faith, we'll not be able to survive the times coming up. And so God is calling us out. He's saying, do what you can to prepare from this moment, to leave the system, to sell your homes, to sell your businesses, and begin to come together into these 1 acre plots as a stepping stone to getting out of the system. And when the time comes, where the sign of the beast is given, what the Lord showed me in 1988, where the beast rose up out of the sea, that's going to be the signal for the righteous to make their final relocation into the wilderness. God's going to preserve a people. He is not, I repeat, not going to remove a people physically from the world. The church will be here when the man of sin comes on as the false Messiah, and the church still will be here when the mark is decreed. For this is the final test of the bride, to stand and withstand until the day that Jesus appears in glory. And through it all, through all this, that God's going to have a bride that's going to be purified and made white, and they won't love their lives unto death. So I'm just saying this just as a reaffirmation of the message that God has put in my heart earlier today. He spoke it very loud and clear in my spirit, and he said in a very loud and stern and yet adamant voice, "Come out of her, my people." So what started back in 1967 as an early move, when God raised up Sam Fife to bring a people out of the system, this same decree is now going forth. I know that I'm not the only voice, but I know that I'm in the Father's will of making this decree. This is Joshua Taylor coming to you from here in Hope, British Columbia, on my last night in this camper. And just pray for me that God will give me secure work, and so maybe in a couple months I'll be able to move my camper and get it secured where I don't have to be living in this van. And the Lord has blessed me, and last year I was able to get this camper. I just need a place to put it, and I'm praying that God will open up a door somewhere in the community with His people. Joshua Taylor coming to you from here in Hope, British Columbia, Canada.